let's get straight into it. The intro will be at the end. This is a 1965 Magnavox Astrosonic receiver. This goes in a big record player combo stereo. It's in for repair. Let's go straight to it. We're going to start by addressing the customer's complaints.
And I really appreciate you coming on, Diego.
Oh, you're so welcome.
God bless you.
God bless you.
Okay, thank you. That was in
$4.10. So low is you can spray it, buddy.
Okay, let's get right into the customer complaints. They're right here. Number one, no audio output whatsoever out of one channel. The other channel is not very loud for FM and makes plenty of volume for AM. Okay, it says here number three, AM does not tune stations at all, it just makes static for AM. AM seems to be working good here.
Side the rail, and this works.
And his two friends were enjoying their surf days. When the struggling swimmer made his way to Button's board and asked if he could rest.
He was panicked. He couldn't breathe, talk, and he couldn't catch his breath. So I let him hold on to my board until the lifeguard came.
55, we have traffic and weather together every day.
Your ride 105 west slows down. Crash.
Of course, I don't have the thing here, so I don't know what's what. Okay, I put an antenna on the FM.
Yeah, they say you're not supposed to eat where you eat.
Okay, well, I'll say this about the FM. It's quiet. There's hardly any sound there, but the sensitivity's there. It sounds like the IF and the RF are working. So it sounds like, to me, this being the front end right here, this is all working because it's tuning in lots of stations with a very minimal antenna. And you can even hear the AGC. So that's the volume wide open. So we got three positions here for FM, and I'm going to assume that that's FM, FM AFC, and FM AFC stereo.
Is the public school system teaching your child the same values and morals you teach at home? Will you let your child...
Oh, hell no. They're teaching the government propaganda line. All right, here we go. He's starting already. All right, here's the thing about these Magnavox Astrosonics. They're popular. They sound good. The electrolytic capacitors are junk. I'm not talking about this electrolytic capacitor here. The filters usually hang out pretty well. It's all of these small Japanese-made electrolytics. Okay, they're junk. They have to be replaced. They go open, they leak, they short. They're horrible. They just... So, okay, so let's get back to the itinerary here, which is the customer's complaint. No audio whatsoever from one channel. I think we should address that first, because these are germanium output transistors, and they're almost impossible to get, really difficult to substitute, and really flaky and problematic. We could almost take a look at this. They all feel like they're the same temperature, which is a good thing. So, okay. And I believe he's absolutely right. We have nothing from one channel here. And so this channel here is completely dead, and it's dead to the point where I don't even hear, I put my ear right up into the speaker and I don't even hear any hiss, which we have to take a look at the schematic. That could be capacitors, but I kind of doubt it. Usually with a capacitor, a little bit of something will come through. What's interesting about this thing is it doesn't even appear that the controls are dirty or scratchy one bit. Not that I would make anyone watch a 35-minute video on how to clean controls and the effect that that has on the waveform. Alright, here's the schematic. Here's the output. These are capacitor coupled outputs. So the first thing we want to do is we want to check these 200 microfarad capacitors and see if one of them's open. He did change some of the capacitors. I'm not sure if he changed those or not. Should clarify what I mean by capacitor coupled. Right here, these are the speaker connections here. This is a coupling capacitor, and the reason this is here is because there's 13 volts DC right here. Here. We like that word over here. The capacitor is there to keep that DC off of the speaker. The capacitor only lets the AC audio pass through it. That's what capacitors do. They block DC and they pass AC. Here's our speaker connector. We have yellow and white being right and left. And we come back and we follow white. And white comes and connects right here to this 250 microfarad capacitor. This is one he changed. It's in there, the polarity's correct. The positive is connected to the speaker. We follow yellow back. Yellow is connected right here. You can see here he cut the capacitor out and he didn't put it back in the right place. Now what I did is I traced this all out following the schematic, and this capacitor here should be connected to here, not to here. Here we go with the heres again. Here we have a malformed, misconnected capacitor because the owner did not take plenty of pictures with his telephone. Okay, so that's the lesson. Even if you're going to recap one at a time, if you don't have a schematic, take a lot of pictures, close-ups from all angles. That way when something doesn't work. So anyway, this is ground right here. You can see this. This comes down and is connected to the chassis right there. The center is ground, and a lot of the power supply filters are connected. So it's a simple mistake. He connected this capacitor to ground. This should be connected here. If we want to get super redundant verification style, you can take a look at the Sam's Photo Fact. You can see how it connects. So he has it connected to this post. It's handy to have these. They're worth the money. And I took the original to Kinko's and photocopied it, and I will be sending it back to the owner with the radio. Okay, that's corrected. It kind of begs the question of what was connected to this point. and there might not have been anything connected here. This just might be a fold over from this other lead, but yeah, always take lots of pictures. I'm guilty of making the same mistake even in videos, and the time taken to take pictures and do good documentation will often save you later in correction of errors. So yeah, take the initial time to document everything before you do this. Okay, now we have methylated B vitamins in both channels.
Our nutritional yeast flakes are loaded with B vitamins, and we have our Max Stress B as well.
So that corrected that. There is no balance control unless this is it right here, but there is no balance control on the front panel. So, okay, let's go back to this guy here. No audio output whatsoever from one channel. We corrected that. FM tune station easily and clear, however the stereo station light does not light up. Okay, so on this version of this is the stereo indicator light right here. Some of these had a meter, but I think this is a lower end model, so it didn't come with only a light. AM does not tune stations at all, it just makes static for AM. It seems to work really well, but you know, it could be some kind of interference in your house, a switching supply or something, but we'll play with that some more. Okay, the other channel is not very loud for FM and makes plenty of volume on AM. Alright, so we have a volume issue on FM here. Okay, so back to our schematic. We have low volume on both FM stereo, FM AFC, and straight FM. This could be like a IF problem, but I kind of doubt it by how sensitive and how rock solid it tunes in stations. And you can hear the FM AFC is working. So you know, if there wasn't a proper signal here, the FM AFC wouldn't lock. So let's look at where the signal, how the signal comes out of this. So this is the audio line coming out. And the audio line comes over to this point, which is also the AFC. Am I looking at the right thing? Maybe not. All right. Stand by. Let me look at this. I'm looking like an idiot, which is nothing new. Okay, so it looks like these are our three positions here. FM, AFC, and FM stereo on the same thing. So it looks like the FM audio line. The hell does this pin say on it? A little product placement there for something I've probably found in the street. Alright, so this is our FM audio line. So it comes out of the multiplex decoder. So how does let's see, it's got to be an open capacitor. There's got to be an open capacitor on this. It could be this one here. So I guess the audio would come here through this capacitor, through here, this capacitor, and then it would be picked off of the emitter. If you weren't using the stereo, the FM would be picked off the emitter, and it would come to this point where you'd have audio, which would come through over here. Alright, so again, these capacitors, and this would cause the dysfunction with the stereo not working. If these capacitors are open, then you're not going to pass the 19 kilohertz and the 38 kilohertz and all that. you're not going to pass enough 19 to light this circuit up. Somebody gave me this Chinese guitar amp, and basically what I've decided to do is I've decided to make a electrolytic capacitor testing rig out of this, and all I did is I took the back off of it and I brought 2 wires out that are in series with the speaker. I get a lot of questions about this. This is a sloppy method of doing this, but it's fairly entertaining, and I'm used to doing it this way. It's real quick and dirty, and here's the deal. So you can only use this method with electrolytic capacitors, 1 microfarad to about 250 microfarads. So if you put a 250 microfarad electrolytic in series with the speaker, you're not going to hear hardly any difference from it being there or being bypassed. A 1 microfarad capacitor is only going to let treble through like a tweeter. Usually a tweeter in a 3-way system uses about a 2.2 microfarad capacitor in series with the tweeter to filter the bass off. So the lower the capacitance, the less bass that will go through, the less bass that will hit the speaker. The lower, if the ESR starts to go down, it'll act like a resistor in series with the speaker. So high ESR it'll sound real weak. Low capacitance, it will sound real tinny or just treble getting through. All right, we're gonna feature some Mrs. Miller here. Right now, this is what it sounds like bypassed. Come on, everybody, clap along. And before you think Mrs. Miller was this horrible joke, keep in mind that she's heavily copyrighted for one thing, and I believe she was on Capitol Records, and she was legitimately signed, and she cut a bunch of records in the 60s. So she's probably a Rocky Horror Picture style cult classic now, but she is legit, a legit recording artist. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to just start. We're going to connect it to these. This one is a 2 microfarad. So if this is good, you should basically only hear treble, like if you were listening to the tweeter only. Alright, it's definitely not open. This is a 10 microfarad, so it should sound quite a bit more robust. And there's absolutely nothing there. Nothing getting through this at all. That could be our input capacitor right there. That could be the one causing all the problem with the low FM volume. This one back here is a 10 microfarad. It's absolutely open, wide open, dead, nobody home open. I mean, there's nothing there. There's zero. If we jump around it. No, there won't. Checking this one here. This is on the FM tuner board. It's open, gone. It's all it's getting through it. So, like I initially thought, most all of these problems that he's experiencing and his complaints are all due to bad capacitors. So, I'm going to recap this. I'll have to see how hard it is to get at these two right here. I'd rather not disturb the tuning string, even if I just have to cut them off the top, and you know. So let me recap this and we'll come back, see what the difference is. Okay, these are some good brand new Nichicon 10 microfarad capacitors. These are not the cheapo ones, these are some good ones, and I'm gonna let you listen to what a good 10 microfarad sounds like, and then I'm gonna bypass it. You hear the difference. God, I tell you, make even the most sober person just want to get up and start dancing. All right, here's a brand new 2.2 microfarad, and you'll hear that pretty much all that gets through this is treble. Very high end, like above maybe 8 kilohertz, above 6 maybe. Yeah, this is a 220 microfarad, and you'll notice when I bypass this one you'll hear very little difference, because pretty much it's passing the whole entire bandwidth, the audio bandwidth, from probably 60 to 20K. Actually, with that one, I can hear that the bass does improve a little bit. The real deep low end does improve when I bypass it, but you probably won't catch that in the camera because of compression and microphones and low pass and high pass filters. So anyway, that's a sample, and none of these have been low ESR, but if they were low ESR, there'd just be, the volume would be very weak. So this is, like I said, a crude way to do this. People have asked me how I do this and why I do this. Because it's quick and dirty, and it's like a ESR tester where you get to listen and share some really freaking cool music that people probably otherwise wouldn't know about. And I probably just drove the price of the eBay Miss Miller catalog up 500%. So enjoy. And just to kind of prove that these capacitors are the low volume issue, so let's just recap this board. Alright, this board has been completely recapped. All the electrolytics have been changed. And I just wanted to show, check out the lead length here. And this is not me. You know, I trim all my leads fairly close to the board, but check this out. I mean, I realize it's only audio, and 38 kilohertz I guess would be the highest here, but sure doesn't seem like they were real concerned about hum or fit and finish. It's pretty sloppy. Some of these leads are a ½ inch, maybe more like a centimeter long. The only other thing that kind of stands out to me on this board is this transistor right here. The epoxy dome top transistor. These seem to have a high failure rate, much more so than these early germaniums. A lot of people like to condemn the germaniums, but actually the reality is, percentage wise, I actually see a fairly low failure rate on those. They are failing more than silicon, but of course they're a lot older. But this thing here, I'm a little suspicious of that, but we won't touch it if the stereo decoder board works. Alright, I'm going to fire it up real quick, then I need to change this one and this one here. Depending on accessibility is how I'll change it. Alright, here we go. Ah, there's our stereo indicator.
Indicators in the market.
I don't have much of an antenna on it. I need a real antenna. You need a pretty strong signal for FM stereo. You know, it won't even click on until you get a good robust signal. And if it's weak and it does click on, it'll just be noisy.
Which is, hey, just diversify your money and you're done. Wrongo, moose lips. Stay tuned. This is Money Matters, and
so the FM is just a few dB quieter than the AM, and that's probably about how it should be. Yeah, AM and FM are roughly the same volume. We're good.
I'm gonna play the song.
For the month of September.
24 meses y con solo...
More info. This summer, join
Visit RadioNW.com. Attend a campus near you.
a brewing company out in New York.
So we're really rolling hard on the cheesy music in this video, but that's okay. These videos are designed to be moderately educational and mildly fun and a lot of stupid. So if you're watching this going, boy, is this guy a clown, you're absolutely right. You know, you can't be all too serious about this stuff because it'll eat you away and put you in an early grave. Anyway, this is the balance control. So, note to the owner, when you get this thing all back installed, sit in front of it right in the middle and go through a variety of different sources and try and adjust that to get the balance even. I can balance it by ear with these speakers, but you know, it's going to be different in the actual combo unit. So I got one more board to recap here, and let me go back over his no audio output whatsoever from one channel. Okay, that was the capacitor that was connected to the wrong spot. Always take pictures before you recap anything. The other channel is not very loud for FM. and makes plenty of volume on AM. Okay, that problem was all these capacitors on the stereo decoder board. FM tunes stations easily and clear. However, the stereo station light does not light up. That again was these capacitors. I have the plastic insert that fell out. That is behind this light bulb here. Since he wanted to clean the glass. AM does not tune stations at all. It just makes static. I can't answer that. That is working really good for me.
Here, with over 8,500 customers, this is a company's
Listening.
receipt by register.
Right?
¿Que les expliquen?
Lifestyle, that's really rough.
Well, it makes me really, really sad.
Exactly.
It really does. Because there are way too many people who live in pain.
All right, back to living in pain. Let's see what we had here. AM does not tune stations at all. It seems to work real good here. That could be something in your house that's interfering, a little switching mode, phone charger. Those problems are always fun to try and diagnose when you get something that's generating a lot of noise and wiping the AM band out. You can see I replaced the capacitors that had blown out ends. The only ones I replaced were in the center section or wired. I did not touch any of the printed circuit board because how fragile they are. I did not want to experiment around trying to replace transistors. Okay, so never condemn transistors just because you see me change them sometimes, or some other people, or there's this kind of myth that germanium transistors are junk and they're all bad. No, that's not true. Diagnose and repair properly. I've tested the output with my signal tracer at random transistor points that I could access. I'm convinced there's at least 3 transistors that are dead. I also agree that the remaining capacitors need to be replaced at the same time the transistors are. I don't see any evidence of bad transistors here at all. And I'm not going to change transistors preemptively for whatever reason, because they're never quite the same. The substitutes and the performance will suffer. Alright, please send me an email when you'll be able to get to it. Well, we're getting to it pretty quick here, and it's not as severe as I thought. So I think I've addressed all of these problems, which are the customer complaints. So that's what you want to do anytime you do something like this. Customer is always right.
Anyways, I was just curious what stem cells might do for my knee.
Me too.
Every word we can't take back. 'Cause with all that has happened, I think that we both know the way that the story ends. Then only for a minute, I want to change my mind. 'Cause this just don't feel right to me.
Very impressive stereo separation. Oh, I'm not going to change this. I don't hear any hum at all. And I don't expect this to fail anytime soon. Some people will probably soil their panties over that, but I believe the owner is more than competent to change this. I am going to adjust my fees accordingly based on the simplicity of just having to recap this versus more of a in-depth diagnosis of bad transistors and trying to substitute transistors and all this other stuff. So let's go through here and test these capacitors that we could not get to in circuit. Okay, this is a 150 microfarad Nichicon with a date code of 63 on it, and it's there. It's not open. Okay, this is a 25 microfarad Nichicon. So the Nichicons do not appear to be open. Okay, I take that back. All of the radial lead Nichicons appear to be good, and the axial lead Nichicons are all open. So these ones here are all dead with the leads coming out of the sides, opposing sides. These ones here, they're probably leaky and off value, but they're not open. 100% of these are good, and 100% of those are bad. So no wonder why the board on the bottom is not causing any problems, because it's using all these types. So that's kind of an interesting conclusion out of this video, I guess. The axial lead ones have a high failure rate. Stereo, mono. Gonna go back to stereo. It actually sounds excellent. It really does, and this board is really working well. I just wonder how the camera's picking it up, because the phone would pick it up much better. Maybe let me do a clip with the phone, because the phone has microphones on the top and bottom, and I can hold the phone and record right here, and it'll pick up the stereo separation. Let me try that.
Hey there, it's Tammy Heidi. Mighty glad you're here, listening to the soul of Southern California.
That's mono. Okay, that's stereo. Mono. Gonna go back to stereo.
I'd be in trouble if you left me now, 'cause I don't know where to look for love.
I think I want to join the Me Too movement. Go football team. All right, I am very happy. Make sunshine smile, wow me good. Performance happy. Radio. Happy Radio Smile Corporation, Limited Liability Company. Sunshine. It's been totally recapped except this. Again, I don't see a problem with that. The owner can change that at a later date if it becomes a problem. AM FM works good. Like I said, he'll have to adjust the balance to his taste when he gets it in the radio, in the cabinet. And I think it's ready to go home. Performance is excellent, doesn't show any signs of alignment problems or sensitivity issues or anything. Very make happy performance radio recap. Oh, the capacitors on the bottom, on that board on the bottom, were all good. I changed them all, but they were all good. So the main issue was these capacitors right here and the correction of his mistake. That's it. Happy Make Radio. 1965 Magnavox Astrosonic stereo console record player tuner. I'm assuming this has a record player in it. Make happy. So you got one resistor there that's cooking along pretty good. Hundred and something degrees. I don't see any hot transistors though. That one right there is kind of warm. That transistor right there is a little warmer. But the outputs all look even. Bunch of hot resistors under here. Those are all resistors right there that are real hot. As far as the rest of it goes, I don't see anything that would indicate anything bad. Power transformer is the hottest thing on it, and that's this right here. Well, you know, that's kind of to be expected. Filter capacitor's dead cold. And this phone's getting really slow. Yeah, filter capacitor's cool. Yeah, right, like that's, anyone's even gonna pay attention to that. Anyway, box opening time, so let me put on a set of hand condoms here, and maybe I should insert a commercial break so everybody can run to the restroom and get their lubricant of choice. You know, I didn't actually know that box opening videos, there was like a fetish for that. So we'll get the hand condoms on here and let's get everything lubed up and pop this. So how would you like it? Hard and fast or slow and easy? What this should be is this should be a Magnavox Astrosonic tuner unit, and I pretty much stopped taking outside repairs in because I got so much of my own stuff going on. And also I don't like the responsibility of the unreliability of something from the 60s, but I chatted with the person who sent this, and they clearly understand that it might work for 5 minutes when they get it back, and then it might blow up. So yes, it has the curb warranty. Once you hit the curb, the warranty expires. So let's hope that's not the case. Oh yeah, it contains a return shipping label and a check with the I'll have to deal with that later. Let's see what we got here. Oh, a copy of the communique. All right. Do I take checks? I don't know. I'm trying to work on the gray man life, you know, and try and stay out of all that stuff. Anyway, we got a 2-page letter here, which, okay, we'll have to, we don't want to tie everybody up with that. So it's always interesting to see how people pack stuff. I think that's the kind of the where some of the unboxing fetish comes in. So we have a double box situation here, which is good. We have a plastic bag to keep the packing peanuts out, which are still going to go all over the yard here. And I just hope that he packed it so that the glass didn't get broken. Now, one of the other reasons I kind of agreed to take this project on is I get a lot of questions about the old Magnavox combo units and console stereos. They're popular right now, and that's a good thing because they're pretty well built. And I wanted to, my goal with these videos is to try and make something that everybody can learn from and teach logical diagnostic thinking. And generally with these, and yeah, so it looks like the glass survived. That's what I was worried about, the glass here. But where's the meter? Boy, this is a lightweight. So to start bursting the bubble, this is a low-end model. Sorry, man. And all of these capacitors have to go. These electrolytics. These, and I'll show you the ones on the bottom. But this is a real low-end version of the Magnavox Astrosonic. This is like the entry-level one, but that's okay. We can make this work good. This is the stereo multiplex decoder right here. I believe that's the FMIF, the FM tuner. And yeah, not much here. Look at the size of the power transformer. What, 5 watts per channel maybe? Transformer coupled push-pull audio out. You can see he did some recapping here. Looks okay to me. Kind of digging the spider web thing here hanging off the lens. These capacitors right here are probably dead open. These are garbage. These plastic cased ones. So pretty much as a general rule, any Magnavox Astrosonic has to be recapped. The electrolytic filters, probably not, but all of these lower end, this guy is probably okay. And the noise from the airplane would clearly indicate that. Alright, let's read the customer complaint. No audio output whatsoever from one channel. The other channel is not very loud for FM and makes plenty of volume for AM. FM tuned stations easily and clear, however the stereo station light does not light up. I have the plastic insert, it fell out when I removed AM does not tune stations at all, it just makes static for AM. Okay, that'll be interesting to address. You can see where I replaced the capacitors. that had blown out ends. The only ones I replaced were in the center section, wired point to point. I didn't touch any of the printed circuit board because how fragile they can be. Didn't want... I have tested the output with my signal tracer at random transistor points that I could access. I am convinced that at least 3 transistors are dead. I also agree that the remaining capacitors need to be replaced at some time. The transistors are. Okay. You want to bring me a dead bird? Cat? You want to just come over here and laminate the customer's box? What we're going to do with this, I think, to make the video the most interesting and meaningful, is to actually diagnose this rather than shotgun recap it. We know the capacitors need to be changed. All the small electrolytics need to be changed. Okay, we know that, but I think what we want to do is we want to actually diagnose the customer's complaints one step at a time rather than shotgun replace it. It's all packed back up, and I packed it the way it came, exactly the same way it was packed when I opened it, with the cardboard over the dial screen glass and the newspaper. I'm returning the check and the communications. Grayman does not want a check. I'll email the owner and let him know a reduced cash price. In this is a 11.5 by 17 or 11 by 17 full photocopy of the SAMs, and it's a photocopy. It's a good resolution photocopy, actually, out of the original SAMs folder, not the low resolution downloadable from the SAMs website. So don't fold it. Keep it just the way it is. These mailing envelopes are Tyvek. So you could, what I've been doing is just lay this in the bottom of the console stereo. That way you always have a copy of the service data. Here are the capacitors I changed, and I hope it makes it home safely. I probably would not have voluntarily chosen UPS, but wasn't my choice, and he included a return shipping label. So it's all there, works good. I hope it performs to your expectations. It sure does to mine, but it's not in the cabinet. And with those high efficiency Magnavox speakers, I bet it shakes the house.